Hello, hello, and welcome to I've Been Cooking, the podcast that brings flavors from kitchens around the world right into your ears. Whether you're a seasoned chef or just looking to spice up your weekly menu, this is the place for recipe inspiration, cooking tips, and mouthwatering stories from the culinary world. I'm Andrea, your host, and every week we'll dive into delicious dishes, explore surprising food facts, and bring you step-by-step guides to make each recipe easy and fun. We'll hear from food lovers, professional chefs, and maybe even someone who's burnt a casserole or two. Here, every recipe has a story, and every story starts with a love for good food. So grab your apron, set those timers, and get ready to cook up something amazing. Because here at I've Been Cooking, it's always mealtime somewhere. Let's get started.
All right, let's dive right in today. We're going deep into Italian wine pairings. I'm really excited about this one, food and place and how those connect. And we've got Lucia Rossi to guide us.
Yeah, she's a chef sommelier, and get this, originally from Naples, but now working in Florence. Quite the background, right?
So she's got that Italian foundation, but also, the experience of working in a different region. I always find that adds another layer of insight.
Oh, absolutely. And what I find so captivating about her perspective is how her, upbringing in Naples really shaped her approach. Like you can almost taste it in her writing.
I was just thinking that. You can almost picture those early years in the kitchen with her mother and grandmother mastering those traditional Neapolitan dishes.
Exactly. It's that foundation that shines through. And it's not just, the cooking skills. After honing those, she went on to study in Paris, delved deeper into wine, and got fascinated by how it all comes together.
Food and drink, right, this dance between them.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got that classic Neapolitan base, but also this, you could say, refined French influence. I'm already hooked. And the article doesn't hold back. She mentions Chianti, Prosecco, Fiano, Graniel, even throws in Brunello di Montalcino and Super Tuscans. I felt like I was on a whirlwind tour of Italy just reading the names.
And that's what's so exciting about Italian wine. It's not just, one or two types. Each region, it's got its own little world of flavor.
Okay, so help me understand this. Why as such a variety in Italy? I mean, you don't see that everywhere.
Well, think of it this way. Imagine Italy as a patchwork quilt. Each patch a different region, right?
Yeah.
And each one has its own distinct, what we call terroir, the soil, the climate, the geography.
So that affects the grapes, obviously.
Absolutely. But then you layer on top of that the human element. Generations of winemakers, passing down their knowledge, their techniques. It's this combination of nature and human tradition that makes it so unique.
Okay, so it's not just about finding a good Italian wine. It's about understanding the nuances of each region. It makes you want to be more, adventurous.
Exactly. It's a journey of discovery. And that's something Lucia really emphasizes in her writing.
Okay, so let's start with Naples. I mean, everyone knows it as the pizza capital, but the article goes beyond that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Lucia, she really gets to the heart of Neapolitan cuisine. It's all about those fresh ingredients, the sun-kissed tomatoes, that creamy mozzarella di bufala, the fragrant basil.
Okay, you're making me hungry. But speaking of experiencing it, how do those flavors pair with the wines of the region?
That's where it gets really interesting. Lucia highlights Fiano, a white wine known for its got this vibrant acidity and these delicate aromas. And then there's Graniano. It's a sparkling wine, but it's not your typical bubbly.
Oh, okay. Now I'm intrigued. I've had Fiano before, but I never really thought about its connection to, the volcanic soil and all that. What makes Graniano special?
Well, for starters, it's got these delicate bubbles that come from, a second fermentation in the bottle. It's that traditional method they use for champagne. Gives it this finesse that, it really elevates those simple, fresh flavors.
So we're not just talking about any sparkling wine here. Graniano has got something special going on.
Precisely. And that's what I find so fascinating about these regional pairings. It's not just matching flavors. It's about understanding how those flavors evolve together, how they kind of complete each other.
It's like a symphony.
Right.
With food and wine playing different instruments, but harmonizing. I like that.
Yeah, it's a culinary symphony for sure. Now, from those sun-drenched flavors, let's shift gears a bit. Head north to Tuscany.
All right. Virtual road trip. Tuscany, for me, it's all vineyards, those rustic farmhouses, and the food. Oh, the food. It's got to be hearty and satisfying, right?
I got it. Tuscany's known for its robust, you could even say earthy cuisine. Think ribollita, that hearty bread and vegetable soup, a Tuscan classic. Or how about bistecca alla Fiorentina?
Okay, I'm listening. What is that exactly?
Picture a thick-cut T-bone steak grilled over charcoal. Simple seasoning, just salt and pepper, that's it.
Man, just those descriptions, you can almost smell that smoky aroma. And of course, Tuscany, going to talk about the wines. What's Lucia pairing with these dishes?
She goes for the heavy hitters here. Brunello di Montalcino, made with, well, it's 100% Sangiovese grapes. Intense fruit, those earthy notes, and it ages beautifully.
Brunello, yeah, I've heard the name, but honestly, always been a bit intimidated by it. What makes it so, I don't know, special?
Well, it's a confluence of factors. You know, the Sangiovese grape, it just loves Montalcino's terroir. Warm days, cool nights, perfect conditions. But it's also the winemakers, their dedication, those traditional techniques, they're really crafting something special. And then, of course, there's the aging process. That's where those complex flavors really start to sing.
So it's a wine for the patient. I get it. It's on my list now. Lucia also mentioned something called Super Tuscans. What makes them so super?
The Super Tuscans. It's a story of, well, a bit of rebellion, you know. Back in the 70s, some Tuscan winemakers, they wanted to break the mold. They started experimenting with grapes that weren't, let's say, traditional Cabernet Sauvignon Merlot.
So they were going against the grain, literally.
You could say that. They were making wines that, they didn't fit into the existing categories. But they believed in their vision and the wines they produced. Bold, complex, really something else.
So what happened? Did the wine world embrace them, or was it, pushback?
At first, there was some resistance, naturally. But the quality, it spoke for itself. They couldn't ignore these wines. And eventually, well, they gained recognition, even achieved a kind of cult status. It changed Tuscan winemaking.
That's a cool story. So back to the pairings, these Super Tuscans, how do they hold up against those hearty Tuscan dishes?
It's a match made in, well, in culinary heaven. They've got the structure, the complexity to stand up to those bold flavors. The ribollita with its rustic vegetables and bread, or that bistecca with its rich, slightly charred flavors.
I can almost taste it. That smoky steak and the Super Tuscan, amazing. But I got to ask, I'm no chef sommelier like Lucia. Are these pairings just for, the wine experts?
Not at all. That's what I love about Lucia's approach. She breaks it down so anyone can understand. It's about encouraging people to experiment, find what they like.
So it's not about just dictating what to drink with what. It's about understanding why those pairings work.
Exactly. And she's got some great tips to get you started.
All right, lay them on us. What are Lucia's tips for pairing?
Okay, so first things first, don't be afraid to, experiment. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all about finding what you enjoy.
I like that. No pressure.
Exactly. But she does suggest thinking about a few things, like the acidity, the sweetness, and the weight of both the wine and indeed the dish.
Okay, that makes sense. So a light acidic wine, maybe a Pinot Grigio, would go well with, I don't know, a delicate seafood pasta?
You got it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got something bolder, more tannic, like Barolo, that could hold its own against a rich, meaty ragu.
I'm starting to see the logic here.
Good. You can also think about matching similar flavors, like a fruity Lambrusco with a strawberry dessert.
Oh, yeah. Keep it in the same family, so to speak.
Right. Or you can go for contrast, complementary flavors. A classic example would be like a salty pecorino cheese with a sweet Vinsanto.
Oh, yeah, that salty-sweet combo. It's like those flavors, they kind of make each other pop, right?
They do. And don't forget what we talked about earlier, Lucia's background, her emphasis on those regional pairings. It's about understanding that food and wine from the same region, they've kind of evolved together. There's a natural synergy.
So it's like if I'm making, say, Ossobuco, which is from Milan, I should look for a wine from that region, Lombardy.
Exactly. You're creating a little taste of that region right there on your plate. It's more than just matching flavors. It's capturing the essence of a place.
I'm really loving this whole approach, It's not just about memorizing rules. It's about understanding the why behind it all and then, letting your own taste buds guide you.
Couldn't agree more. That's what makes it fun, right? It's a journey.
So, wrapping things up, what's the big takeaway here for our listeners? What should they remember from this deep dive into Italian wine pairings?
I'd say it's about appreciating the power of place. Italian food and wine, they're so deeply connected to the regions where they come from. That's what makes them so special.
It's like each bottle, each dish, it tells a story about the people, the land, the traditions.
Beautifully put. And when you put those things together, you create something more than just a meal.
So any final advice for someone who wants to, dive in and start exploring Italian wine? Where should they begin?
Pick a region that speaks to you, Maybe Tuscany with its rustic charm, or Sicily with those vibrant Mediterranean flavors.
That's the starting point.
And go beyond just restaurants. Find a local wine shop, one that specializes in Italian wines. Talk to the people there. They can point you in the right direction.
That's a great tip. It's like having your own personal guide to the world of Italian wine.
Exactly. Don't be shy. Ask questions. The more you learn, the more you'll appreciate it all.
Well, this has been fantastic. I feel like I've learned so much. And honestly, I just want to go out and, well, experience it all now.
And that's the best part, right? There's so much to discover. So keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep those taste buds happy.
I love it. Ciao for now, everyone, and happy pairing.
Hi, it's Jamie, and if you enjoyed today's episode of I've Been Cooking, we'd love for you to share it. Leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new recipe. Do you know someone who loves cooking as much as you do? Send this episode their way. And hey, let's stay connected. You can find us on Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook at I've Been Cooking. Tag us to show off your creations and join a community of food lovers worldwide. And if you want to chat with us directly, we're always hanging out on Discord. You'll find the link to join in the footer of our website at ivebeen.cooking. Until next time.